Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Lion fans? It's been a minute. How you doing? I missed all of you. So, the 2025 NFL Draft is officially in the books. Let's talk about what the Lions did and what Brad Holmes just cooked up. Let's do it. But first of all, I do have some housekeeping notes I need to take care of. Thanks so much to Roast Summer for sponsoring this video. They've got hot coffee, cold brews, chocolate, all kinds of great drinks and treats for you to try and enjoy. Visit our website, roastsummer.com, link in the description below. And if you find something that you think you would enjoy and you want to try it, you can always save some money on your order by using my code TonyD. Shout out to Roast Summer. Thank you once again to them for sponsoring this video. And also, if you could all do me a favor, leave a like on this one. Comment your thoughts on this Lions draft down in the comments below. And let me hear your thoughts on what the Lions did in this year's draft. What is your favorite pick and just how you feeling about this year's draft class for the Detroit Lions? Leave it all down in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. I very much appreciate it. Alright, that takes care of my housekeeping. Let's now discuss the Detroit Lions 2025 NFL Draft Class. Let's start from the beginning. Thursday night, round 1, pick number 28 overall, Tyreek Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. You know, the D tackle position for this football team coming into the weekend, low-key, both in the short term and long term, a big need. In the short term, first of all, unfortunately, Lee McNeil won't be ready for the start of the season as he is recovering from his torn ACL. Dan Campbell has already said that. And in the long term, too, as we all know, DJ Reader and Levi Onwuzurike both on one-year deals coming into the 2025 season. So, yeah, again, both in the short term and long term, coming into this weekend, the D tackle position for this football team, low-key, quietly, a big need. Well, insert Williams, and you hope that he is going to address a lot of those questions and concerns, again, both in the short term and long term at the D tackle position. Williams is known for his run stuffing ability. There were a lot of draft experts who said that Williams is the best run stuffer in this year's draft. You absolutely love to hear that. And even Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, I'm pretty sure it was both of them. Brad for sure. I think Dan Campbell also said this after the pick. They both, I'm pretty sure, mentioned that Williams reminds them both of Lee McNeil. If that's the case, you can see why the Lions absolutely love this guy, you know? Yep, I like this pick. I know there were a lot of people when the pick initially happened that weren't fans right away. I feel like they've kind of come around on the pick now that time has passed, but when the pick first happened on Thursday nights, on Twitter, there were a lot of people that were not happy. You know, I had people tweeting at me, oh, we passed on this guy, we passed on that guy. We do this every year, man. Like, I learned a long time ago that we just need to trust Brad Holmes. He has shown us time and time again that he is a lot smarter than me. He is a lot smarter than you. He knows what he's doing, man. So, yeah. And it's Brad Holmes we're talking about here. We know he's never going to pass on an opportunity to improve the trenches, improve the D-line and offensive line, which he definitely did that in this draft. We'll talk about it as the video goes on. But, yeah, again, Brad has shown us time and time again to just trust him. He knows what he's doing. And, yeah, again, you know, the D-tackle position was kind of a need for this football team, both in the short and long term. We take Williams, who many believe is the best run stuffer in this draft. He's going to help this defense. He's going to help the D-tackle position. He'll be a big addition to the D-tackle room. Yeah, I have no complaints about this pick whatsoever. I like the pick. And you know, I will say this too, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, Michigan fans. I don't mean to upset you when I say this, but it is the truth. It is something worth mentioning, I feel like. I do like that he's coming from a winning program that just won a national title. Again, I know, I'm sorry. But it's the truth. You know, I do like that he's coming from a winning program in Ohio State that is coming off a national title win. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, I like the pick. No complaints from me. I'm excited to add Williams to this football team, and particularly this defense, obviously. And that was not the last time Brad Holmes addressed the trenches in this 2025 draft class. Let's keep it rolling here. Moving on to day 2 for the Lions. Starting with our second round pick, number 57 overall, Tate Rattlage, guard out of Georgia. Exactly what I just said about the D-tackle position, I could say the same exact thing about the guard position. Coming to this weekend for the Lions, the guard position was also low-key, quietly, a big need for this football team. After we lost Kevin Seiler in free agency, and with Graham Glasgow's struggles in the 2024 season, The guard position, again, was also quietly, low-key, a big need for this football team. Enter Tate Rattlage, who is already becoming a fan favorite. Fans are already loving them, some Tate Rattlage. You know, with many people saying he's a, quote, dirtbag on the football field, that's all you need to see to know that he is very much a Dan Campbell player. He is going to fit in perfectly if that is the case. In addition to that, he's got a Lions tattoo on his arm, the mullet, the mustache. He wore number 69. That's nice. Similar to what I just said about Ohio State, I like that he's coming from Georgia, an SEC school that knows how to win football games. Tate was just the first of many dogs that the Lions took in this 2025 class. We'll talk about that as well as the video continues to roll on. But yeah, there's a lot to like with Rattlage for sure. You know, on the field, he seems like, well, no pun intended, he seems like a dog on the football field, you know? He's literally a dog, you know, a Georgia Bulldog, but on the football field, he seems like a dog. He seems like he's going to be a perfect Dan Campbell player, a perfect Detroit Lion. And most importantly, he fills a position of need. You know, there's a good chance that we are looking at one of the starting offensive linemen, one of the starting guards for the Detroit Lions in 2025. If that's the case, I'm all for it. The early theory that's been kind of flown around on Lions Twitter is you put Rattlage at the right guard position, have Christian Mahogany at left guard, and then obviously you have Taylor Decker at left tackle, Penei Sewell at right tackle, Frank Ragnow at center. And that would, for right now, that would be your starting offensive line going into 2025. We'll see, obviously, what the offensive line is going to look like. But yeah, that's the early theory that I've seen Lion fans talk about on Twitter. And again, if that's the case, I'm all for it. We'll see. But yeah, this is another pick that I really like from the Detroit Lions for sure. Moving on to round 3, pick number 70 overall. The Lions go wide receiver this time with Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas. Another guy who I imagine is going to be a fan favorite very quickly. He's got all the makings of becoming so beloved from the Detroit Lions fan base. He's a hometown kid. He grew up a Lions fan. You know, after we drafted him, he mentioned that he grew up watching Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson, which makes me feel so old because I also grew up watching Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson, and now he just got drafted here. It's like, oh geez, I also grew up watching them, and he just got drafted. I feel completely old right now. But yeah, you know, again, he's got all the makings of being just beloved here, I feel like. If he produces for this football team, simply the fact that he's a hometown kid and grew up a Lions fan, I think he's going to be such a fan favorite in my opinion. And especially if he does that handstand celebration, maybe with Amon-Ra St. Brown. If we get a double handstand celebration this fall, if we get Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tesla doing that handstand celly, that is going to break. That's going to break the internet, man. I can't wait for that. I am really hoping we get that. But yeah, another pick I'm all for as a Lions fan. Was wide receiver maybe the biggest need for this team coming into the weekend? No, maybe not. But do you think I'm going to sit here and complain about adding another weapon to this offense? Absolutely not. The more weapons, the better. A lot of people saying we just got our Cooper Kupp. I would love that. I'm very excited to add Tesla to this team, to this offense, and yeah, I'm excited to see him come back home, and can't wait to see what he does in Honolulu Blue. And now moving on to day 3 for the Detroit Lions. I'll just do quick hitters for all 4 of these picks. I'll try not to keep my thoughts on all these picks too long, you know. So let's get into it, starting with our 5th round pick, number 171 overall, Miles Frasier, guard, LSU. Brad Holmes addressing the trenches again. You'll love to see that. Another addition to the offensive line. Another guard for this football team. Going back to what I said when I was talking about the offensive guard position kind of being a little bit of a question mark for this team coming into this weekend. In my opinion, I feel like it went from being a question mark coming into the draft to coming out of the draft, looking like it might end up being a strong suit for this team, you know? You've got Rattlage, you got Frasier, you got Mahogany. Only 2 of them could start, obviously, for this football team, so one of them will be coming off the bench. And we do have Graham Glasgow, too. I know he's coming off a rough 2024, but he does have the experience. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he can bounce back and be a lot better than he was in 2024. Hopefully he'll be better in 2025 because that's only going to make the offensive line and specifically the guard depth look a lot better for this football team, But here's the thing I really like about Frasier. He started 50 games throughout his college career, and he played all over the offensive line except for center. He played at left tackle. He played at right tackle. He played at left guard. He played at right guard. He's got starting experience, and he's very versatile. I know the Lions love their versatility, and so do I. I love the fact that Frasier can play pretty much anywhere on the offensive line. Maybe outside of center. He didn't play center at all in college, but he did play everywhere else on the offensive line, and that is something that definitely intrigues me as a Lions fan. Miles Frasier, another solid addition to the offensive line, and another selection that myself and a lot of Lion fans do very much like. Along with this pick, I am so excited to watch this guy play in Honolulu Blue. Round 6, pick number 169 overall, Ahmed Hassan, edge, Boise State. We got our edge that a lot of us, including me, were very much looking for from this 2025 draft class for the Lions. And we got a player who I feel like is going to be an absolute dog for us. I love this pick. All I needed to see was that video of him on the phone with Dan Campbell once he was about to get picked. And I'm sure you've seen the video already. Him crying and telling Dan Campbell, "I will die for you." How does that not fire you up as a Lions fan, man? I saw that and I was like, yes. I was ready to just plow through that wall behind me, man. Oh my goodness. I'm going to make a prediction right here, right now. April 26th, I'm making this prediction right here, right now. This year's Amon-Ra St. Brown. This year's Malcolm Rodriguez. That day 3 pick for the Lions that really just pops. I think it's going to be Hassanin. I can absolutely see this guy just popping and going off this football team as soon as 2025. 22 combined sacks, and I believe it was 33 combined tackles for loss throughout his last 2 seasons at Boise State. He was productive, he's got a high motor, great teammate, great character, great leader. Man, there's so much to like about this guy. There is so much to like with him. And he's coming here to help fill maybe, arguably, the biggest need for this football team at the pass rushing position. I am so excited to see him play opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I'm telling you, I can't speak highly enough about this guy. I didn't even know who this was before a couple hours ago, but man, I'm so fired up for him. I really am, ladies and gentlemen. I am thinking he is going to be a great addition to this football team, a great addition to this defense, and again, if you were to ask me who's going to be this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown, this year's Malcolm Rodriguez, that day 3 pick for the Lions that just really pops, I think it's going to be Ahmed Hassan. If you can't tell, I am very excited to add him to this football team. Moving on very quickly to our final 2 picks of this draft. Round 7, both Georgia guys. We took 3 dogs in this draft. That's hilarious. I mean, I'm not complaining because, again, I'm kind of weird. And I like when we go from those, big schools, those winning programs, But our last 2 picks, both in the 7th round, both from Georgia. First of all, pick number 230, Dan Jackson, safety out of Georgia. It's safety depth. That was another thing that I wanted to see the Lions address in this draft. There you go, Dan Jackson. Especially after we lost Iffy in the offseason to free agency. Again, we need to, I feel like, address safety depth on this football team. So, yeah. Dan Jackson, safety out of Georgia. I like that pick. And then finally, again, in the 7th round, pick number 244, Dominic Lovett, wide receiver, Georgia. More wide receiver depth. I'm never going to complain about adding wide receiver depth. And Dominic Lovett, I'm kind of surprised that he fell to the 7th round. I wonder why that is, because he led Georgia in receptions last year. I would have thought the receptions leader for a team like Georgia might have gone a little bit earlier than the 7th round, but hey, I'm not complaining about that. I'm excited to get him in Honolulu Blue, and I'm excited to see what he could do for this football team. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the official Detroit Lions 2025 NFL Draft Class. I'll go over each pick one more time very quickly right now. Round 1, Tyreek Williams, D tackle, Ohio State. Round 2, Tate Rattlage, guard, Georgia, dog. Round 3, Isaac Tesla, wide receiver, Arkansas, Woo Pig Sooie. Round 5, Miles Frasier, guard, LSU. Round 6, Ahmed Hassan, edge, Boise State. I cannot wait to see him play. Round 7, Dan Jackson, safety, Georgia, dog. And finally, round 7, Dominic Lovett, wide receiver, Georgia, dog. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, as a Lions fan, I like what Brad Holmes did once again. Of course, Brad Holmes cooked up something that I am liking as a fan. Coming into this weekend, coming into this draft, there were 5 positions, 5 things I want to see the Lions address in this draft. I want to see them address the edge position. I want to see them address D tackle. I want to see them address offensive line, particularly the guard position. I want to see them address wide receiver, and I want to see them address safety depth. They did literally every one of those things in this draft. They addressed D tackle. They addressed guard twice. They addressed wide receiver twice. They addressed edge, and they addressed safety depth. They addressed everything I want to see them address in this year's draft. So yeah, as a Lions fan, of course I'm going to like what I just saw for Brad Holmes in the Detroit Lions once again. How are you feeling, ladies and gentlemen? You as a Lions fan, how are you feeling about this 2025 NFL draft class for the Lions? Leave it all down in the comments below. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on what Brad Holmes and the Lions just cooked up. Alright, but other than that, I think that's all I got for you in this one, ladies and gentlemen. This was fun. I missed talking Detroit Lions football. It's always fun to talk NFL draft. I am such a big draft nerd, so this was very fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Alright, if anything, my next Lions video, if there's not any kind of, breaking news or something, my next video will probably be for the schedule release. So, yeah, if anything, we'll see you then on, I believe it is Wednesday, Wednesday, May 14th. So, yeah, we'll see you then. That's all I got for you in this one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it as always. As I mentioned earlier in the video, leave a like on this one. Comment your thoughts on this Lions draft class down in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. I very much appreciate it. We'll see you soon, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, as always, go Lions, baby.